Brr.
Are you a disgruntled horse?
Drunk horse.
A drunk horse.
But he's drunk because he's disgruntled.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, but he's drunk on power, horsepower.
That's pretty good too. That's pretty good
That's
too.
a dumb joke.
I think he's disgruntled because people have forgotten the horse part of horsepower. Not verbally, they just forget where does that power come from? Horses.
Yeah.
How fast can a horse run? 50 miles an hour.
I can't fact check you on that, so I don't know. But
There it is.
listeners, the person that just made that wonderful disgruntled horse noise was Mr. Sean Patton.
That's me. And the person who inspired pre the recording here, and then ultimately during the recording, the horse discussion, Caitlin Cook.
Hello.
Yeah.
And you're listening to 5 Words, the podcast. This is the podcast where we have on a guest, and the guest has given us 5 words, and we make up a story based on those 5 words and what we know about the guest, and then the guest tells us the real story. Did I do good? I feel like I missed.
I'm proud.
points
No,
there.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I did
Last
it
time you got too excited.
I got too
You
excited.
nailed it this time.
Yeah. We have a wonderful guest.
And the reason why I did a horse noise at the beginning, something to do with this guest, because they are, one of their many accolades is that they voice a character on BoJack Horseman.
This is true.
Yeah. They've also been on television, written for television, performed stand-up all over the world.
Yes.
And are currently writing a book,
Very
which
cool.
I always think is amazing.
If you haven't heard of this person, you have been living under a rock. That's not true.
Yeah, and also, like, if you've been living under a rock, how flat are you?
This is true.
Because that's always a thing of, like, I get it. It's just a metaphor or a statement, but it's you gotta
You're
be
a flat
tiny,
person.
You gotta be a
You're
tiny,
flat, two-dimensional person. No, but if you haven't heard of Aparna Nancherla, we're excited to introduce you to her.
This is Aparna Nancherla. She's fantastic.
And she is our guest for our 100th episode, right? No, that's right. That's wrong. I'm sorry. Our year episode.
Well,
year anniversary.
No. Our pre-year.
Oh, right.
She's
Yes.
This is guest number
Episode
52.
Why did I think 100? I write the numbers of the episodes.
You know what? Because you get excited and you just this is the and you
But
just.
she is our episode 1 year ago today. We released.
No, that would be 1 year ago. Next episode.
Next week.
Don't worry about it. You are good at everything except calendaring.
Yes.
So there you go. It's
Well,
okay.
we're excited to have her for the 52nd episode.
Yep.
She's awesome, and you're going to enjoy her.
And this week this Friday, which is 3 days from now,
Yes.
4 days from now, watch Caitlin and I live at 10:33.
Yeah.
At 10:33 p.m. Eastern.
Yep, with Shane Torres.
With Dr. Shane Torres.
who's been on the podcast.
Yeah, and it's at holdthephone.tv on Twitch.
Absolutely.
And
It's going to be really fun.
it's going to be
And Sean has to
amazing.
learn a TikTok dance because he lost our game, the better half, this
No
past
comment.
week.
Anyway.
He's very upset about it. Anyway, also, if you feel like watching Good God, we're also at Hold the Phone TV every Tuesday night. And we got a sick lineup this week and basically every week. It's been a blast. So watch some live stream comedy, listen to the episode, enjoy Aparna. Peace out. How are you handling quarantine and everything? How's it going?
It's okay. My boyfriend and I are in an apartment near, I guess, the east side of Prospect Park, but we've been pretty hunkered down. Like we haven't even gone for daily walks or anything. Like I think the last time we left was maybe for groceries a week ago.
Wow. Dawn would go insane. We took a really long walk last night at like midnight. Like
Yeah.
we went into the park and around like Park Slope and Windsor Terrace. And
Oh, that sounds so nice.
it's like a lot less stressful at night because there are less people around. So.
Yeah, that's smart. Maybe I'll do that. I want to go for walks, but it feels like people in our neighborhood are not social distancing that well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they just don't care. Yeah, there are definitely. That's what's fun about at night. Like, and it's the first time walking around Brooklyn at night is safer
Right.
then, but like it is quiet and there is
Whoa.
no one. You don't even see like homeless people or like last night we saw two dudes who looked like a bunch of roustabouts.
Yeah.
They were just like being loud, and one of them clearly like fake coughed, was doing like a big fake cough.
What?
Well, yeah, it was just being like, "Oh no, dude, watch out, I got it," and he's coughing, and that completely ruined the vibe of the roustabout hangout, and they all just kind of walked away from the dude. And it was like, yeah, man, even like people who are up to trouble are like, "Come on, man," but seriously, like, don't fucking.
Yeah, I think there's different standards even for roustabouts during quarantine.
For sure. Yeah, the weirdest thing I've seen, and that was like beginning of April, but we were walking around and saw like a bunch of people playing pickup basketball.
Yeah.
Like, why? It was like 15 people.
And they're all touching one object.
Yeah.
Yeah. One object made of rubber, which I don't know if viruses stick to. I just feel like rubber is like a stickier, more porous. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like soaks
Even
it up.
though what was that kid's rhyme
I
about?
was just trying to think of that. Yeah. What was it?
Rubber and glue? Like
Yeah,
rubber.
whenever I say bounce off
bouncing.
me in 60, I'm rubber, you're glue.
Yeah. But I don't think that works for
No.
virus.
No.
Whatever you cough on me, you actually spread around all of us because there's a 6-foot contagion ring. Yeah. That's going to be some new rhymes. There's going to be some new nursery rhymes because of this.
Wasn't Ring Around the Rosie? Remember that rhyme? I think that was about the plague or something.
Yeah, it was like a smallpox rhyme or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
That sounds right.
Holy shit. We should start working on the COVID-19
the nursery rhyme.
Nursery rhyme. That is just like, I mean, it's what's really interesting is finding out all the people who aren't in New York, like that you thought have been in New York this whole time.
Oh, like New Yorkers who are no longer here?
Yeah, like we were texting with our Jeremy Levenbach.
Yeah.
I've been texting with him like this whole time, thinking he was at his apartment in Manhattan, and then today he was like, no, he's in Vermont. Yeah, like there's like a moment where you're like, you fucking traitor, but then you're like, no, I mean, smart.
Yeah, I mean, I see both sides of it, but I think I'm resentful because we don't all have a place we can go to.
Yeah, that's very true.
Very true.
I wonder how many apartments are just empty because people have like access to some kind of vacation home or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish they should, if you could prove when this all gets lifted, if you could prove you stayed, there should be like, now you get like a New Yorker badge. Like you never have to pay for the subway ever again or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
a perk.
Yeah.
You get to legally curse out one person a day. They're like, they're wearing a New Yorker badge. They were here the whole time.
I do feel like after this, I am a New Yorker. Like I felt like that for a long time, but still a lot of people will be like, you have to be in New York for 7 years or some shit.
Yeah.
Now I feel like, no, I did COVID, so.
I think this counts as like 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, Aparna, because how long were you in LA?
I was there not even 2 years, just under 2 years. So I was not I don't know what the Los Angeles time frame is for being a true Angelino.
I mean, I think it's if you take 3 meetings. if you are a true Angelino, if you go on 1 audition,
yes,
3 meetings, and
you have a lunch just
10 bottled waters.
Right. Once you fly out of Burbank.
Yeah, that's true. That's a pretty inside scoop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you live there for a second?
I was in and out. I lived there in 2006.
Yeah.
And then again from 2011 till 2015.
Okay, so I think that's when we overlapped because I was there from 2010 to 2012.
I have this very distinct memory that I think I've shared with you a lot, but it was of you and I doing it was a good show, but no one was in the audience. It was one of those like only 5 or 6 audience members, and the lineup you look at was like a great, amazing lineup. There were like more
Yeah.
comedians on the lineup than audience, but it was still like fun. I just had this memory of you and I getting shit faced afterwards at like a bar that wasn't like a cool hangout place. Just was like, well, that spot's open.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what year that was. I just remember it was like you and me just being like like pirates, swashbuckle drunk, and then like, all right, bye. And
Yeah, I feel like I maybe remember this too. And I don't, this might not be the right place, but it was maybe a place on like Beverly Boulevard that was like the back of a restaurant or something, but it was like this weird room.
yeah,
We did
that
comedy in.
that is one thing I do actually like about LA is there are a lot of establishments there where there's something in that building that is not advertised on
Yeah.
the sign.
They now have all the speakeasy shows. There's probably some here.
Blind barber ones are really fun.
Yeah.
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 That yeah.
Not back to speakeasy, but it's back.
Oh, the speakeasies. It's in. Like we all just start pretending like prohibition's a thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
it definitely feels like when things start to open back up again, it's gonna be like that because it's gonna be
that's true.
exclusive.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There probably will be secret shows where they're like, we're not supposed to do this, but
yeah, or just like you have to really be in the know and know like a password or something to like get it. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's already happening. I feel like right now
probably
there's like
that's true. There probably are actually secret gatherings.
Speakeasy. So like if you like, so y'all are staying pretty locked in, which is
I'm working on a book right now, so I feel kind of like lucky in that I was already living kind of a quarantine lifestyle before we started. So I almost feel like I had an unfair advantage compared to a lot of people.
That's pretty amazing that you're working on a book. That's just amazing in general.
Oh, what's that?
What is the book?
Oh, it's like personal essays, and the overarching theme is imposter syndrome.
Ooh, yeah. I like imposter. Ooh. Well, I have imposter syndrome.
Well, that's awesome that you're working on a book because that to me is one of the biggest like artistic mountains to climb.
It seems like, I mean, everyone says it's hard, but I think until I started, I was like, oh, this is hard in ways I didn't even fathom.
Because I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I've never worked on a book. I'd like to one day, but I feel like there's a lot of like, and this is something I think anybody, not even comedians and writers, but like musicians, fucking ballet dancers, sword swallowers probably hate what I'm about to say next. When you have to take something you've created and give it to someone else who you're paying to like pick it apart and tell you where all the flaws are, and you're like, please don't be too cruel to my baby.
Yeah, and do you mean like at the end when you're giving it to the world, or do you mean like the editing?
The editing process, you know? Because give it to the world, you could just, if people hate it, you could go, fuck you, because you know there's going to be people who love it. Yeah. But in the editing process, it's someone who's trying to be constructive, and you're still like, you piece of shit, you don't know what this is like. But then you're like, oh.
Especially, and for comedy and like anything like memoir or personal essay, it's always your life, so it's impossible to not feel wounded when they're like, this essay didn't do anything for me. Like this bearing of your soul, this one didn't really work.
That would drive me insane to like, that didn't do anything for you.
That's kind of what, so my Edinburgh show is like sort of, it's very personal, and I was revising it and getting notes from like more playwrighty type theater people. Mm-hmm. And the best note that I got, which was very painful to hear, was like, until you do this reveal at the end, none of the stuff you're telling us before matters. And like, why should we care?
No.
But it was really good because it like taught me how to like restructure a bit to like pique the interest of the audience. But it's hard. Yeah, it's really hard.
It's hard to hear.
brutal. It's
Yeah.
like especially like that's a thing about when you have to like I don't know when you have to an editing process or when you need someone like director when they use phrases too like that where it's like I don't care about or this does nothing for me and there's a whole idea of like well suck it up you're an artist or suck it up you just don't be so
Yeah.
sensitive and it's like yeah but you're asking the only way you get to this good shit is by opening yourself up so
Right.
much that it's so raw and pure but unfortunately also sensitive.
Yeah. Also,
So
your
when
beard looks really blue right now, Sean. It
It
worked.
does.
We dyed
yeah,
it.
we dyed it blue.
Oh, you
So,
did? It is
yeah.
actually blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is your hair naturally black? Like,
It is naturally very dark brown, and I had a lot of grays, and that's what the blue took. Because
oh, because I remember once I tried to put blue in my hair. Like, I went to a salon, and she was like, "This is gonna be tough. It's tough to dye black hair. Takes
and
a
did
lot of
did
work."
it look like this? Did it look like this?
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
took a lot. First, they had to make it really blonde.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's kind of grown out now, but like the ends are vaguely pink because I
Ooh.
had it like bleached and then it just sort of slowly grew. So I don't know. I might get to that point of quarantine where I'm buying weird bleaches and dyes and doing weird shit.
I just had when you said blonde Aparna, I just had a vision of like the Florida version of Aparna,
Like
like
an
the version,
M&M version.
yeah, like the version of you that like I don't know. Wait, are your parents still together?
Yeah.
Like the version of you where your parents aren't together and you like moved with your dad down to Jacksonville and you got like real into like, like knowing you probably wouldn't get into like meth, but you'd start smoking menthols and probably a lot of acid. That's what you'd be. If you were like
Yeah.
if you were like a party person, you'd be a raver. You'd definitely be like
Yeah, I think I like the ones that are like, this will open your mind.
oh yeah. Yeah, you would definitely be like a DMT, like an LSD beach buddy, but you with like blonde hair, like bleach blonde hair, pulled back, baggy Jinko jeans.
I had Jinko jeans in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I begged my mom to let me buy a pair from the mall.
Wait, where did you grew up in DC, right?
Yeah, like the suburbs, Northern Virginia.
Yes, the suburbs, dude. Some of the most. Ugh. If only people knew what they were flighting to back in the 80s, like this.
There should be like a sign as you're leaving the city what you are agreeing to.
Yeah, like if you see, like one of those like when you walk into somewhere where they're filming and they're like, by walking in here, you agree. Same thing, like by driving past this interstate exit, you understand there's going to be a lot of very not so subtle racism, but in a way where it's right. It's like, well, I mean, they're not like us. That's something I heard a lot growing up when you'd hear well, if they're like us, it's like, what do you mean like us? We're fucking smoking, we're skipping school and smoking cigarettes in an abandoned fucking putt-putt. Like, what about us? Do you want people like us?
I don't
But
have any idea what that's like.
yeah,
Where
Caitlin
did
grew
you
up
grow
in
up?
California.
In
Oh,
LA. Yeah.
oh, in LA. Wow. I
Yeah,
don't know why I'm always like fascinated by people who grew up in New York or LA.
I'm fascinated by people that grew up in New York for sure, which is funny because, I had somewhat of an equivalent weird growing up. But yeah, I don't know. Growing up in LA was probably more normal than New York, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
I went to a public LA high school. I had a house neighborhood where we would ride around bikes until the streetlights came on. Like, pretty normal. Yeah.
I think I like exoticized California schooling because all the shows the kids went to school in California and I was like, wow, they eat lunch outside.
Yeah. Everyone's got a Jeep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, like, I went to a private elementary school and then my parents were like, we can't afford this shit. And after that I went public, but the like kids' houses that I remember going to when I was younger in elementary school was like like Nicolas Cage's son went to our school for a year. And so there were just like weird things of like, I had a birthday party where a girl gave me like 3 Game Boys, which I'd been asking my parents for so long, but that was like too expensive. And like, there was like a weird discrepancy.
Did you just say you went to a birthday party where they gave out free Game Boys to the guests?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm so fucking, I've never been jealous of your upbringing before.
I mean, my mom almost like made me get it back. She was like, we can't accept this.
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, maybe we can sell it and pay for college. It's like, Mom, how much do you think? Then your mom was just wrong. She thought they were like 80 grand. It's like, Mom, they're fucking $200.
Yeah, it was probably like $200. But $200 for like 20 kids at a birthday party is crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I think about though? I've been to Caitlin's parents' house, you know, and I can say this: it is like it feels when you're on her parents' block, like you could be anywhere. You could be in fucking Indiana. You could be in Fort Wayne, Indiana, for all you know.
Whoa.
But when you walk like 15-minute walk, then suddenly you're like, and ABC Studios where they shoot James Corden, you know, and like The Price is Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think about that. Like Caitlin grew up 15-minute walking distance from where they shoot The Price is Right.
That's crazy.
Which my parents.
I didn't know that until you said that right now.
Yeah, you know that ABC Studios, Aparna, right there by the Grove. Yeah, that's like in that, like, right, you know, like it's so like that. When I told my mom that when Caitlin and I first started, you know, dating, I told my mom that Caitlin grew up right by where they shoot The Price is Right, and that was like a moment.
Your mom never brought that up to me. That's so funny.
Really? Oh yeah, like a moment where she was like, "Oh," I was like, "Well, she didn't. She's not the host. She's not that guy. She's not related to him." Yeah.
Yeah, I remember whenever I watched game shows as a kid, at the end when it was like, if you'll be in the LA area, like, you know, you can submit. And I was like, wow, I could be in an audience. Be in a TV audience.
Well, I mean, like, did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
I didn't. I feel like every show that everyone's like, this is a cultural milestone. I have not seen that show.
I haven't either. So yeah.
I also feel like some people put way too much. It's like it's a TV show. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's some great TV, but at the same time, like if you're writing a book, you know what I mean? Like, there's more cultural milestones than but it was a great TV show. But one of the guys, Aaron Paul, one of the lead actors, he was on an episode of Price is Right before he was ever
as a contestant.
As a contestant,
whoa.
And so was Josh Androsky, if you know him.
I was in the audience.
You were there.
What?
Yeah.
All right, Josh. To the listeners, Josh Androsky, fellow comedian. I might be paraphrasing, but I think like a couple years ago, won $1 million in Vegas.
That's right.
And blew it all on a campaign running for sheriff of LA. Just crazy. Right? That's right?
That's what I remember hearing.
Yeah. But you were there when he was a contestant?
Yeah, because it was like another comedian's birthday party idea, where she just wanted a big group of people to go to Price is Right, and everyone was going to try to get on the show, and they picked Josh Androsky.
That's so funny.
Was it hard? Was it like did you have to wait on the sidewalk for 2 hours?
You did. You had to wait so long, and it was so clear that there were people who just invested so much in it. Like they all had their T-shirts made, and they had like, you know, family credo. And I think Josh got on because he was like just weird enough that they were this will be fun. I think his job was like skateboard rabbi or something.
Yeah, I remember.
It's like, oh, they're gonna ask him what that is.
Yeah. You want to get on Price is Right? Make up some ridiculous job title.
Yeah.
You know, fart coordinator. You know, I coordinate global farts every day to keep.
Where your gluten-free hip hop academy joke.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the craziest, like, I guess there's someone's ringing the doorbell. But I think there's I guess you'd call it line waiting culture if you can. But that shit exists. People who like understand, like, I'm gonna go wait for something for if it takes a day, it takes a whole day.
Do you think the people who do that, they go on the whole circuit, or do you think it's just specific line people
I
for
don't
specific
know.
things?
I hope it's just specific things.
Me
If you're
too.
traveling to wait in line, Jesus, there's a there's a lot of other. Take a walk, ride a bike. Like there's a lot of other things you could be doing. Well, like
What is that store in LA, Supreme or something, that always has a line? I
I
still
don't even know
don't
what that is. It's
understand.
just clothes, right?
Yeah, I still don't understand what the line is for.
Dude, I mean, the most insane line situation I've ever experienced was in Austin, Texas. There is a place called Franklin's Barbecue, and
Oh, I've heard about this.
right, and it's now. At the time, Jay Larson and I were filming Best Bars in America, but
Yeah.
so we had two production assistants wait in line for us because they wouldn't even let us cut line, even though we were like, we're going to film and put it on TV. They're like, sorry. But it's the kind of thing where they make all their meat, they smoke it all the night before, and then they open, and then when it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
So some people will wait in line all fucking day to get some barbecue. We eventually had the barbecue, and I will say this, it is very good, but like any food, it fills you up, and eventually then you're like, well, okay,
Yeah.
now what, right? And
Yeah.
we talked to this one couple who like, they came to Austin specifically for Franklin's, and at one point they had a little fucking cooler. They ate lunch while waiting to eat barbecue. I was like, that is fucking insane to me. Like you're doing the thing that you're waiting in line to do.
Whoa.
Had
they had it before, or they were like, we've got to try this?
I think no, they just heard about it, but it was still like it's just like it's like someone with $1 million cash watching someone with $1 million in cash buy lottery tickets. It's like you already got the money. You already have $1 million. What are you doing? No, but but some people. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you should, when you finally release your book, just only sell it from one, like where people have to line up. But is someone ringing our door again? Anyway,
you guys are in demand.
Yeah, it's either that. Well, you know how some people, well, not some people, Amazon delivery people, they don't have keys to any of these buildings.
Right.
So
so they just buzz all the.
They would just buzz every single fucking, and whoever's feeling generous that day.
Yeah.
Well, I've definitely sat in here working on something, or not even working on things. Maybe just like staring off into space, not wanting to be bothered. And I've heard that thing go off like 6 times.
Yeah.
But then that's, of course, when you go and you see like a little note on your door that's like, IRS, or not that serious, but something. Oh, there's Caitlin, masked up.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. The postman just couldn't get in because our buzzer is broken. So he just kept trying, and so I let him in.
Well, speaking of buzzers being broken, Aparna, would you mind telling us the 5 words to your story?
Sure. They are. Wait, I gotta pull them up now. Magic Eye. Right. Costco. Sister. Recliner. Emergency.
Beautiful. Now this one is an old classic, and a Aparna Nancherla tale of like a time where you receive a email from a random person one day, who this is when we were living in LA too, by the way. Oh, okay. And they were like, hey, I'm your sister, your long lost sister. Why don't we meet at Costco, somewhere safe? Yeah. Just to like get to know one another, Yeah. And you were like, that sounds totally reasonable.
So
right?
So you go meet her at this Costco, and you guys are like trying to figure out if you're actually sisters or not. And you're wandering around Costco talking and getting to know one another, and you come across this Magic Eye poster. And you're like, this is the way we figure out if we're sisters. Like, if we both see the same thing, then we'll know.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So you're staring at it for a while, and
And eventually, what you get what the medical term I think is just magic eye strain, magic eye cataract, if you will. So you both just get extremely dizzy from staring at this picture. But in that dizziness, you both realize, I think we both saw the same thing. Luckily for you both, though, you're at Costco. There's also some recliners right there. It's like, hey, let's take a hey, I'm gonna get this lazy boy, you pop down the other one, let's just relax for a second and talk about what just happened. But as soon as you sit down, it's obvious that your new long lost sister is dizzier than it seems. She seemed a little so you're like, all right, this is a problem, it's an emergency. Right? You call an ambulance, get to the hospital, right? They check her out.
And you're like, wait, maybe this is how we actually figure out if we're sisters. Can we do like a quick little blood DNA type test? And they're like, yeah, sure. And you get the results back, and it turns out she ain't your sister.
Oh, no.
Right. So you go into the room and you ask her, like, hey, sis, what was it that you saw in that magic eye painting anyway? And she goes, the buffalo, isn't that right? Isn't that what you saw? And you just nod your head and walk out, and you never tell her what you actually saw, but it wasn't no damn buffalo, right? And then it turns out she was just actually a massive, massive fan of your comedy.
Oh no, the worst reveal.
Right. And so you let her come to you tell you hook her up with tickets every now and again, but
she's not your sister.
It wasn't your sister, and it wasn't a buffalo. What you actually saw was another magic eye painting.
Oh my god. That's incredible. I don't know what your guys' success rate is with stories, but you got a lot closer to the story than I think you could have envisioned.
Well, our success rate is like that. It's like adorable.
Oh, I always think of awe as like a taboo thing because comedians hate it when audiences go, "Oh."
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple of what, couple of those, and even a couple like, whoa, close. Yeah. But majority, it's like, you guys tried.
Oh.
Yeah. What's the real story?
The real story is when my sister and I were younger, as you know, we grew up in the suburbs. So a big family tradition was going to Costco every month or so, bulking up on goods. And so the whole family would go, and my parents would, have to go around the store, pick up a bunch of things. So they would always, I can't remember exactly how old we were, maybe like 8 and 10. They would always drop my sister and I off in the book section so we could read the books while they did the shopping.
Oh. Right.
Yeah. So I was like paging through some dog books. I was in a big dog phase. And my sister was doing all the magic eyes. This was like when magic eye was really at peak popularity. And so she was just like doing as many as she could. And then I was just like, caught up in dog images. And then I just hear her go, I don't feel so good. And then I turn around and she has fallen to the floor.
Whoa.
Unconscious. And everyone around her is like, oh my God, is she okay? And then they see that I was like kind of standing near her. And instead of saying anything or like answering their questions, I just start running.
Natural. Yeah. You were a kid.
I was a kid, but also not the ideal reaction in an emergency. But in my head, I had been in a big dog phase, and I was like, oh, this is what the dog does when his owner's hurt. He just runs for help.
Right.
So I just started running. I was like, I'm gonna find my parents. I'm gonna just follow my gut instinct. I'm gonna know where they are. So I just like ran through all the aisles. I eventually found them. And I was like, my sister, she fell down, and then eventually they like understood what I was talking about. We went back to my sister. She had like fainted, I guess, from doing too many magic eyes. She did in fact get dizzy, which I didn't know was a thing that could happen. But we like, that someone had given her some water, but we basically like took her with us, and we she still wasn't feeling very well, so we went and sat in the furniture display section. We like sat her in one of the recliners, and then she threw up on it.
Ooh. Did you have to buy it?
No,
Oh.
that was kind. They didn't make us buy the recliner.
Yeah, because that'd have been a huge bummer when it was all said and done. It's like, oh, by the way, where do I send the bill? Glad your daughter's okay, but barfed. That's also where you want to, like, if I was near that situation, once like the sister, okay, she's okay. I'd like to like then stare at the magic eye paintings, like, oh my God, that's horrible. How could you put this where children could see it?
Like the image was so disturbing, she passed.
Yeah.
So
Or it was like
I wonder if there are other what?
Or it was like The Secret to Life, and it just
right. It was like too much knowledge.
I wonder if there are other instances of like kids fainting because of magic eye.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just like because you're like unfocusing your eyes over and over again.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I mean, I know this. It took me a while to crack my first ever magic eye.
I only did it successfully for the first time last year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I've never tried one.
Caitlin, dude, for me, once I cracked it once, now I can just look at one for a second. It just comes.
Yeah, it's so weird how once you see it, you're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Do you remember?
So
dude,
I hope we don't faint and throw up on our recliner.
I mean, the truth is, if you are, you're a graphic design person, Caitlin. Like, I think you can learn how to make those. That would be awesome to make like show flyers where you just stare at this for a second. It's like August 15th, Union Hall. You're like, oh fuck! I saw where the show is.
That'd be cool. I'll take a whack at that. Yeah. I
Yeah,
just have a memory.
It would always be kind of a grainy image, but I wonder if you can, do words and stuff.
Do words, yeah, true. I mean, you could do any. I mean, I know sailboats were big. The first one I ever saw was a bear with a clown hat. I remember that.
Whoa. I always thought it was a dolphin. I don't know why. I always thought it was supposed to be a dolphin.
Yeah. There was definitely a dolphin. There's I'm sure you could even put like lewd imagery.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, well, that's a penis,
Yeah, someone has done a penis and someone has done a hate symbol.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, you're right. Wherever they could fucking even those people, you'd have to be like, fuck you, points on ingenuity, but fuck you. And still fuck you. You suck. But well played fitting a SWAT stick into a fucking magic eye, but fuck off.
That was like the Disney, wasn't that a thing with Disney movies? There was always like a penis in there somewhere.
Yeah, the animators like to hide weird shit.
I believe it is in either Aladdin or The Lion King, where like a pile of leaves, like a character sits and there's like leaves blow away.
Oh.
And it says sex for a second.
Oh, interesting.
It's The Lion King, where Simba flops down.
So the animators were also 13-year-old boys.
Yeah, for sure.
Sex. Like, that's so ridiculous.
I know.
Like, put like a math formula, a problem that you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If someone solves, you give them like a free week in Disneyland or something, or like
that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Disney, you should do this, but also pay us.
Yeah.
I heard the worst story recently about Disney World, where this kid, a friend of my boyfriend's, his kid was supposed to go on a week trip to Disney World with his class, and because everything was canceled because of quarantine, the teacher gave them an assignment where every day they have to go on the Disney World website and say what they would have visited and what they would have ate that day.
No.
I know.
That's fucking terrible. That's a shitty.
So bad. That was like the worst thing I'd ever heard.
That's like the teacher's like. That's like the teacher trying to be like, well, I'm trying to show them what life's really like.
I know.
Like, Jesus.
So dark.
Yeah, that's like. I mean, it seems like. I mean, I can't prove that I'm not owned by Disney at this point.
Oh yeah, we all are, at least a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Disney's. it's crazy when you think like now, like like Iron Man. It's all of it. Like it's only going to
Right.
be a matter of time before there's like Disney adult, which is just like, huh? You know, like Quentin Tarantino films and like,
Oh,
or like,
right. Yeah. Well,
you
have
know,
you guys done Disney Plus at all? Everyone keeps telling me to get Disney Plus.
A little bit. You watch that show on it, right, Joe?
yeah, I did it just to watch The Mandalorian, but like
Oh, right.
it's its own. Just when you go on Disney Plus, that's where you realize the true scope of how much the Disney Corporation owns. Because
Whoa.
it's all these Marvel movies, then it's all these other movies that you're like, oh, that's a Disney movie, and then
And then there's a lot of like stuff from your childhood where like
yeah,
Right.
it's like Cadet Kelly and like Xenon and yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that was Disney.
it's some ways it's like Disney's like the for the longest time I think was just looked at as like the divorced dad who was like, he's harmless, and then
Oh, right.
started, the dad started doing CrossFit and like going out and like, hooking up with 20-year-old girls and doing cocaine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like fucking, and then start doing stand up. Basically, I'm saying,
Start doing stand up.
yeah, the Disney is now the guy from Tiger King, the fake rich guy.
Oh, I
The guy.
haven't seen Tiger King.
I'm not entirely sure that's not going to be owned by Disney at some point.
Wow.
Like there'll be a Tiger King ride. I mean, Aparna, you should watch it only because it absolutely 500% lives up to the hype.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But watch it.
There will be a movie about it.
Oh yes, there will be
so many actors will be like, I want to play Tiger King.
Oh, every if you're just like a pure actor, every single person in that documentary is 1,000% like I would play that person. If you're like they're all insane. But watch it after like a week of positive shit happens to you.
Oh no.
Because it is just a reminder of the dark side of the human condition.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? Where you're like, Jesus, oh yeah, people are capable of being that. I mean, it's not like disturbing, murdery shit, but it's definitely just like
this is America.
Fucking idiots.
Yeah, that stuff. I feel like that stuff makes me more sad than like heinous crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Because
are you like not watching a bunch of stuff because you're working on your book right now?
I feel like I'm watching like stuff here and there. Like for a while, my boyfriend and I were watching this Japanese reality show called Terrace House on Netflix. It's nice because it's like real world, but it's Japan, so the level of drama is like 10 grades lower than it is here.
That's so funny.
Oh, okay. So it's not like okay, if one of them doesn't do the dishes, they get sawed in half.
No.
Because whenever you preface something with Japanese, that could mean it's some of the most frightening.
Right.
Like, have you ever seen those Japanese like prank shows where they scare people?
Oh, I have seen like a clip of one, and those are wild.
Those are like mind altering.
Yeah.
Fuck people's life up. Like people are definitely shell shocked for life after some of those pranks.
No, you're right. I
You're
feel like Japanese can go either way.
Or it can go the way you're talking, where everybody's just kind of civil and educated and like understands like, we live together. Logically, we should take turns removing the trash. And you're like, yes. And that's the drama.
Yeah, like there are episodes where they're just like cleaning.
Like, wow, look how functional human beings can be if they put a little effort into it. Yeah.
Well, like the Japanese make fun of Americans for wearing our hearts on our sleeves and like being too emotional. So I want to watch this show because reality TV is all about emotion. So.
Right. They're just a lot more matter of fact about romance. Like they'll like want to have a conversation with each other and be like, are you interested in me romantically? Then we can proceed, like it's very like orderly.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
You know what kind of fucking loser I am? In that situation, even if I was interested, I would still say no out of like shyness. I'd probably be like, no, what are you talking about? I just want to be your friend forever.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of the guys do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
funny. Interesting.
Like,
I got a whole list of things to do now. I got to watch the show. I got to make a magic eye poster.
I know you have a whole.
I swear to God, like I got a whole list of emotions to work because I am an overtly emotional human being, except
Yeah.
when I'm supposed to be
Oh,
emotional.
interesting.
Yes, when
So
I'm
it
supposed
comes out like the rest of the time.
all the time. But then when I'm at a wedding and everybody's crying, I'm like, what are you talking about? This is you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
You know? But every other time I'm just like this orange. You know what I mean? People fucking don't realize that oranges are life. It's all everything you need to live is inside of an orange.
But I get that because it feels like real life, the times we're expected to be emotional end up feeling so performative. It feels like it's for everyone to be like, look at how sad I am or something.
Yeah.
Whereas the stuff that actually gets to me is like, yeah, just day to day
Well,
hardship or.
so like in your book,
Mm-hmm.
it's you said it's all like it's like personal essays.
Yeah.
Is it so like in the vein of like a David Sedaris book kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if they're all gonna be straight up funny. Like some of them might be a little more serious,
Sure, yeah.
but yeah, I feel like Sedaris is always the goal.
Are you reading while writing a book? Because I've heard that's a thing that some people are like, some people do, some people stay away from.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot, but for a while I was reading a lot of personal essays, but then I started to feel like it was kind of self-destructive of like, here's another thing you'll never be able to write. Like, so then, that's
Yeah.
the problem with writing about imposter syndrome. You're just like, what? Who am I to write about imposter syndrome? It's like too meta, but so now I'm trying to read books that are not at all like what I'm writing.
When you say imposter syndrome, do you mean like yourself from that perspective your whole life kind of thing? Like you've always felt
Yeah, like you always feel like a fraud. Like you always feel like whatever success you get, it's like a fluke or you're about to be exposed as not belonging to whatever you've been accepted into.
Jesus Christ. The only time I've felt that I was not an imposter was hearing this diagnosis. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely not an imposter in this regard.
I definitely have it. A lot of people have it, and a lot of people that should have it do not. Also,
Yeah, it's weird like that.
Yeah.
God, if you could only like weaponize certain like disorders, like if you gave Trump
Yeah,
imposter syndrome now, and just a little bit more autism because he's definitely on some level. He's on the spectrum, but he can function, unfortunately.
right.
Yeah, no, that's like a because writing. I reread Dress Your Family Up in Corduroy
Oh
and
yeah.
like corduroy and denim like I want to say like a year ago, and it was just one of those like I don't know. There's something about that style of writing that I do love because it can also naturally, like you're saying, be funny. One could be
Yeah.
hilarious, and then one could be like, "Oh, that's sad and
Yeah.
real," but it doesn't like the tone doesn't have to be one or the other. The tone can just be human, I guess.
Right.
Like it's like this is how this is the experience, and like I don't know, I enjoy that. So like I'll be buying your book.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I read his last book, I think Calypso maybe is his most recent book, and it is a lot darker. And then I always make the mistake of like reading comments sometimes on book reviews, and there'll always be someone who's like, well, I liked his earlier stuff. It was funnier. And I was like, fuck you, it's his life. Write about
Yeah.
whatever he wants.
Comments are just yeah. You start to learn at a certain point. It's like they really are like there's a masochism involved to
Yeah.
reading these things. Like it's not where unless you like that. Unless you're the kind of person who like cuts to feel. It's a similar
Yeah.
thing with the
It
fucking
does feel like emotional cutting to read comments. It's like you're looking to hurt yourself.
God damn it if that isn't the perfect name for a book of essays. Emotional cutting. That is good.
Yeah.
Well, I could say this. If you ever are just in the mood do you know who John Irving is?
The author?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read a ton of him though.
There's a book of his called A Widow for 1 Year,
Uh-huh.
and it's about two writers, and he really dives into like the writing process for both of them.
Yeah.
And that is such a fucking interesting book to me to read, because it's like, I read it like 20 years ago, but I just remember like it really like was like, wow, being a writer can be insane.
Right.
Like a novelist writer. And I don't know, it's a thing of it made me want to be a writer more than anything ever had.
Oh,
Just
really?
because of how much he died. And the book's not about writing. It's not about writing. It's just about the lives of two writers who are like connected. But it does dive in their processes a lot. You see a lot of like, oh fuck, it's madness in like this way that is enticing, and I have this feeling inside of me that that's what it's always been. I don't know, I loved it, and if you're ever like, I just want to read a novel, I think it's
that sounds great. I sometimes wonder if comedians are kind of brain siblings with writers, but we get the catharsis of like the immediate feedback of a laugh, whereas writers just like don't get that. They'll get that after like years and years of writing the book and then editing it and publishing it, but most of the time they're just like stuck with the first part in their head.
Yeah, but then there's also the part of when you're a writer, you can be like massively successful but still disappear in a crowd.
Yeah,
that is pretty cool.
You know what I mean? Like Stephen King, or like J.K. Rowling could walk down the block and maybe get recognized.
Right.
You know, Stephen King probably a little bit more because he's an interesting looking fellow. But like, yeah, I don't know. There's tit for tat.
Tit for tat. That's a good name for a book.
Yeah, the second book, tit for tat. Wait, so do you have when do you think? I mean, is he talking like a year before it's out, you think, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first draft will be due later this year. So then I think it takes a year from then for it to actually come out.
Well, I will definitely be on the lookout for that. That's when you said, I was going to say this, but I didn't want to interrupt you. But when you said that at the top of the podcast that you were working on a book, I thought it was one of those moments where I was like, of course she is. It was a perfect, like, of course you are, Aparna.
That's very nice.
You're one of my favorite people to follow on Twitter because there's so much garbage and just fucking so much just septic bile crap on Twitter, but your tweets are always like, that's funny and poignant.
Every single listicle that is ever sent to me that's like hilarious tweets from ladies this week. Like there's always like at least one or two from you. It's great.
Yeah, I don't know though. Twitter as of late, I've like even grown disenchanted with, or not even as of late, like for the past 4 years, I'm like, I don't know. This place is turning into a
it's a hate hole. It's a hatred hole.
I'm not really on it for that.
But you've also always been one of my favorites to watch and perform with. So where else can people find you? On like Instagram or anything? Or
yeah, my Twitter and Instagram are the same. Aparna Napkin. Those are probably the easiest ways to find me on the internet.
And look out for the book. And when all this lifts again, are y'all still doing Butterboy on Mondays?
We are. Yeah, we're still doing the live stream every Monday at I guess 7 p.m.
Yeah, that is a wonderful show. See it live when we can see things live again. But Aparna Nancherla, devour everything she creates. It is all magnificent.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Aparna.
Stay safe.
Later, you too.
Aparna is so great at writing tweets, so I took 5 of my favorites and I turned them into a song. I wish there were glory